stop for a moment. Whatever you were about to open next, whatever tab you were about to switch to, let it wait. It will still be there. I want to tell you something about today, and it is not what you think. All day you have been waiting on me. You woke up waiting, you went through your hours waiting. Somewhere in the middle of the afternoon you said something in your mind that sounded like, "God, please, anything." But here is what you do not know. All day, I have been waiting on you. Not with impatience, not with disappointment. I have been waiting the way someone waits at a table they set hours ago, keeping the food warm, watching the door. There were 3 separate moments today when you almost turned toward me. 3 times you came close, and 3 times something pulled you away. Before this message ends, I am going to show you all 3. I am going to tell you what I was holding in each one. And I am going to tell you the one thing I have been waiting all day to say. That last thing is the reason you are still here. So stay a while, not out of fear. Nothing bad happens if you leave, but something good happens if you stay, and I would rather you have it tonight than next year. Let me begin by telling you what I saw today. I saw you wake up before you were ready. I saw the moment your eyes opened and the weight arrived before your feet touched the floor. There is a particular kind of tiredness that sleep does not fix. You know it well. You have carried it so long you have stopped calling it tiredness. You just call it your life. I saw you lie there for a moment, doing the thing you do every morning, running the list. What is due? Who is upset? What you did not finish? What you cannot fix? And I saw you get up anyway. Nobody clapped. Nobody knew what it cost. You just stood up and started the day, and that was the first moment. That was the first time I was near. Because in that thin silence before you got out of bed, something in you turned toward me for half a second. It was not a prayer. It was barely a thought. It was closer to a sigh. And I was already listening. You dismissed it. You told yourself you did not have time to sit with feelings this morning. So you got up and you started moving, and the moment closed. I did not go anywhere. I waited. I saw you in the mirror. Later, I saw you arrange your face. That is the word for it. You arranged it. You made it into something presentable. You practiced looking fine because you have people who need you to be fine, and you have gotten so good at it that most days you fool yourself too. I saw you check your phone before you left, not for news, for one specific thing. You were hoping for a message or a call or a number in an account that was higher than you feared, or a name to appear that has not appeared in a long time. And the screen showed you nothing new, and your face did not change at all because you have learned not to let disappointment show anymore. You have learned to absorb it silently like a wall absorbs a knock. I saw that too. And this is what I want to say about it. You never once looked pathetic to me. Not once. Not in any of those moments. You looked brave, in a way that the world does not know how to notice. There is a kind of courage that does not look like courage. It looks like a person making coffee. It looks like a person answering emails with a wound they never mentioned to anyone. That is what I saw all day. So here is the question I want you to hold for the next few minutes. If I was there in the morning and there at the mirror and there in the afternoon, why did I wait? Why did I not simply speak the moment you sighed? There is a real answer to that. It is not what you fear. I will give it to you before this is over, but you need something else first, or the answer will not land where it needs to land. You need to understand what happened in the years you thought I was silent. Let me talk about that silence. You have carried a specific fear for a long time. You have never said it out loud, so I will say it for you. You are afraid that I heard you and chose not to answer. Not that I missed it. Not that I was busy, something worse than that. You are afraid I listened, considered you, and decided you were not worth the trouble. That fear has been sitting under everything. Under your work. Under your relationships. Under every prayer you have prayed since. I want to take that out of you. Tonight. Consider something. Imagine a house being built. From the road for a very long time there is nothing to see. Just a fence, a flat lot, and mud. The person who owns that lot drives past every week. Month after month, nothing changes. No walls, no roof, no sign of progress at all. They begin to think they were cheated. They begin to think nobody is coming, but underneath that flat ground, the foundation is being poured. Then it is being cured, which cannot be rushed. Then the pipes and the wiring go in deep where nobody will ever see them again. None of it shows. All of it is necessary. And the day the walls go up, they go up fast, and the neighbors say it happened overnight. It did not happen overnight. It happened in the months when it looked like nothing. Your last few years were the foundation. I know that is a hard thing to hear when you wanted walls. But I will not lie to you to comfort you. I would rather tell you the truth and let it comfort you slowly. There were things you asked me for that you were not yet able to carry. I am not insulting you by saying that. Think about who you were 3 years ago. Honestly, 3 years ago, could you have said no to someone who was draining you? Could you have walked away from a room where you were not respected? 3 years ago, could you have received a large blessing without immediately giving pieces of it away to people who would never have thanked you? You know the answer. So, some doors stayed closed and you stood outside them and wept. And you called it rejection. Some of it was rejection. I will not pretend otherwise. People chose against you and that was their choice, not my plan. But some of it was me holding a door shut with my hand on the other side, listening to you cry and loving you enough not to open it. That is one of the hardest things about being loved by someone who can see further than you. Now, the first thing I was waiting to give you today, I have been waiting all day to see you without the arrangement. Not the version of you that is holding it together. Not the version that has an answer ready when someone asks how you are. I have been waiting for the version of you that is sitting there right now, a little worn out, with your guard slightly down because nobody is watching. That version, that is the one I have always been talking to. You do not have to be composed with me. You never did. You have spent years bringing me your best behavior as if I were a guest in your house who had to be impressed. I am not a guest. I am the one who was there at 3 in the morning when you were not impressive at all. So here is the first sign that something is turning, and it is internal and it is quiet, and most people miss it entirely. You are getting tired of pretending. That is not a crisis, that is the beginning of freedom. The performing is starting to feel like a coat that is too heavy. You are noticing the weight of it. 2 years ago, you did not even notice. When a person begins to feel how tired the pretending makes them, that person is very close to putting it down. But I want to stop the teaching for a moment, because before I tell you anything else, I want to say something to you as a father speaks to a child. You have carried too much for too long. You have been the strong one in rooms where someone should have been strong for you. You have held a family together with hands that nobody ever checked for cuts. You have forgiven people quietly and told no one because you did not want them punished. You just wanted to stop hurting. You have said it's fine so many times that the words have gone dead in your mouth. And you have prayed with no evidence month after month, which is a rarer thing than you know. Rest is not a failure of faith. Setting something down is not the same as giving up. Being tired, it is not proof that you believed wrong. You are allowed to be still tonight without solving anything. I am not going to ask you for anything you cannot give. Put some of it down where you sit. If you truly need it later, it will be there. Now, the second thing. This one is harder. It is about the people and the doors. Something has been leaving your life. Maybe a friendship went quiet and you still do not know exactly why. Maybe someone stepped back, or a connection that once felt central just cooled without a fight. Maybe an arrangement you were too afraid to end ended on its own while you watched. You have been grieving that, And you have also been asking in the back of your mind whether it was punishment. Let me tell you what I see. A builder does not tear down scaffolding because he is angry at it. He takes it down because the structure can finally stand without it. Some of what left you was scaffolding. It served a real purpose. It held something up while you were being built. And it was never meant to be part of the final house. Some things did not leave because you failed. They left because they could not come with you. But I want to say the other part because you deserve honesty, not flattery. Some of what happened to you was simply wrong. Someone chose to hurt you and there was no lesson hidden in it for you to find. I do not need you to call that a blessing. It was not. It was a wound. What I will tell you is this. Nothing that was done to you in the dark was unseen. Not the sentence that was said about you in a room you were not in. Not the thing you were blamed for that you did not do. Not the loyalty you gave that was never returned. I do not require you to pretend it was fine in order to be close to me. You can be angry and be mine at the same time. Many of the people I have loved most were furious with me at some point. Not one of them lost their place. Now watch how the two things connect, because this is where it starts to make sense. The tiredness of pretending is what makes the leaving survivable. If you were still fully committed to appearing fine, you would have chased those people. You would have apologized for things you did not do just to keep the peace. You would have rebuilt the exact structure that was being taken down. The change inside you had to come first. It always does. Which brings me back to the question you have been carrying since the beginning of this message. Why did I wait all day if I was there the whole time? Here is the answer. I was waiting for a moment when you were not asking me for anything. Read that again, slowly, because it is not a rebuke. Almost every time you have come to me in the last 2 years, you have come with a request in your hand. And the request was real and I did not mind it. But it meant that every conversation between us was about the thing you did not have. And I have been wanting to talk to you about something else. I wanted one moment where you were not negotiating, where you were not making a case, where you were not trying to convince me that your need was urgent, as if I needed convincing. I wanted a moment where you were simply present and tired and honest and not performing and not bargaining. That is this moment. That is why it is tonight and not last April. You are not here tonight because you finally said the right words. You are here because you finally ran out of them. And an empty hand is the only kind I can put anything into. That is what I was waiting for. Not your improvement, not your worthiness, just your open hand. Now let me tell you what has been closing that hand. It is not a curse, and it is not something hunting you in the dark. I am not going to frighten you with an invisible enemy so that you cling to me out of fear. That is not how I want to be loved. What has been closing your hand is something much more ordinary and much more human. There is a pattern in you, and it has been making decisions on your behalf for years. I will name 3 and you will know your own immediately. The first is earning. You believe somewhere deep that good things must be paid for with effort, so you work for love. You make yourself useful, indispensable, necessary. You give, and when someone finally offers you something freely, you cannot rest in it. You start looking for the bill. That is why grace has been so hard for you to receive. It has no price tag, and you do not trust anything without one. The second is bracing. You expect disappointment so faithfully that you prepare for it in advance. You keep your hope small so it cannot be broken. You talk yourself out of good news before anyone can take it from you. You call it being realistic. It was armor once. It kept you standing during a season when hope would have knocked you flat. But armor built for a war that has ended becomes a cage. The third is self-blame. This is the heaviest one, and it is the one I most want to lift. You have quietly concluded that the common factor in every hard thing is you. The relationships that failed, the money that never held, the chances that came and went. You have added it all up and arrived at a verdict about yourself. I want you to hear me clearly. Those are not my words about you. I have never once spoken them over your life. You have been narrating your own story in a voice that is not mine, and then blaming me for what the voice said. Here is my verdict. You have carried an unusually heavy load with unusually little help. You did it for years. You did it while people assumed you were fine. You are not a failure. You are someone who has been under-supported and who kept going anyway. There is no shame anywhere in that record, so set the medal down, not with a ceremony, not with a dramatic prayer, just with a quiet adult decision that the old rules do not govern what comes next. Now look at what those years actually built in you, not what they took, what they built. You can survive things now that would have broken you before, you know that. You have proof. You have received bad news and stayed standing. Years ago, that same news would have ended you for months. Now you feel it and you keep moving and you recover faster. You can recognize a warning sign in the first week instead of the third year. That knowledge cost you something real and it is permanently yours. You have learned that peace is not boring. Peace is expensive, and you have already paid for it in full. And you kept praying without evidence. Anyone can believe when the results are visible. You believed in an empty room. That is not weakness dressed as faith. That is faith with roots. I did not put you on a hard road because I was angry. I put you on it because I was building something that ease could not build. Now, the third sign, the strongest one, and it is the quietest of the three, you are beginning to stop auditioning. There is a day that comes when you no longer need one particular person to confirm your worth. You stop rehearsing the conversation where they finally understand what they did. You stop waiting for the apology that would let you move forward. You realize you can move forward without it. You stop explaining yourself to people who decided who you were a long time ago. You stop performing for a room that never applauded, and something else comes with it. You start telling the truth faster. When something is wrong, you say so, not with anger, just plainly, that does not work for me. 5 words that would have terrified you 2 years ago, that is the sign. Not thunder, not a number in the sky, just a person who has stopped needing permission to exist. When that begins in you, a season has genuinely turned. Look at how it all fits together now. The pain taught you exactly what you can survive. The silence poured a foundation you could not see. The tiredness of pretending loosened your grip. What left your life cleared out what could not travel with you. And the earning, bracing, and self-blame have finally been named out loud. Named things lose power. Nothing was wasted, not the waiting, not the crying, not the years that looked like nothing was happening. Now let me tell you plainly what this turning means, and I will not exaggerate it because you have been promised too much by too many voices. I am not telling you money arrives by Friday. I am not telling you a certain person is coming back. I am not naming a number of hours. Anyone who does that is guessing, and you deserve better than a guess from someone speaking in my name. Here is what is real. The old season is losing its authority over your decisions. That is already happening, whether you have named it or not. The reason behind the delay is becoming visible to you. Most people never get that. The weight you were never meant to carry has been identified. You can stop apologizing for being tired. You are becoming ready, not just hopeful. Those are 2 very different words, and one clear step is available to you tonight, which is more than you had this morning. Hope is replacing fear without pretending the pain was acceptable. Both things are true. That season hurt you, and it did not finish you. You may hold them together. You do not have to choose one. Now here is your part, and it is small enough that you can actually do it. First, tonight, write 1 sentence down. Name the pattern you refuse to carry into what comes next: earning, bracing, self-blame. whichever one made your chest tighten when I said it. Write it on paper, not in your head. Keep it where you will see it in the morning. Clarity fades much faster than pain does. Second, take one honest step toward the thing you have been circling. Send the message, submit the application, book the appointment, ask the question you have rehearsed 40 times and never asked. If money is the pressure, sit down tonight and write the real numbers. Not to punish yourself, just to stop guessing in the dark. Fear grows in vagueness and shrinks in daylight. If it is a relationship, stop asking for clarity from someone who benefits from your confusion. Watch what they do for 1 month and believe that instead of what they say. If it is exhaustion, tell one trusted person the truth about how tired you are. One person, that is the whole assignment. It does not have to be brave, it only has to be real. I have never despised a small step. Third, before you sleep, sit still for 10 minutes and ask me for nothing. Do not negotiate. Do not make your case, just be there. That is the posture I waited all day for. Give it to me for 10 minutes and see what settles. If all three are too much, choose one. One faithful step still counts. And if this message found the place in you it was meant to find, you can write this in the comments as a reminder to yourself, not as a condition for anything, and not because I need your words in order to move. I trust you, Lord. I am ready for this new chapter. There is no magic in typing it, but there is something real about a person finally saying hope out loud after years of only whispering fear. Now, let your shoulders drop. You are not overlooked. You are not skipped. You are living in the part of the story where the work happens underground, where nothing shows and nobody applauds. A seed gets no applause. It just keeps splitting open in the dark. Let me show you something before I let you go. Picture an ordinary Tuesday a year from now. Nothing dramatic about it. No music, late afternoon light in a kitchen. You are doing something forgettable and you notice that your chest is quiet. The thing that used to wake you at 3 in the morning does not live in your body anymore. The name that used to make your hands shake is just a name now. You are not checking anything. You are not waiting for anyone to make a decision about you. You have a boundary that holds. You have 1 or 2 people who ask how you are and then actually wait for the answer. You are not wealthy in the way you once pictured. You are steady, and steady turns out to be what you were really asking for all along. And you remember tonight. You remember sitting there, tired, half believing, listening. You did not believe it completely. You took 1 step anyway. That step is why you are standing in that kitchen. You do not have to sprint. You do not have to solve your whole life before you sleep. Grace was never a wage you earned by being impressive. It is a gift you are allowed to receive while you are still tired, still unsure, still figuring it out. My love for you has never depended on your performance, not on your comment, not on your like, not on how many minutes of this you stayed for. You were loved on your worst day. You were loved in the hour nobody knew what you were carrying. You were loved before you got anything right. Nothing in this world can charge you for that. If messages like this help you find courage, clarity, and steadiness in a hard season, you are welcome to subscribe and keep walking with us. This is a place for people who are healing, rebuilding, waiting well, learning boundaries, and choosing hope again after it cost them something. You are invited here. You are never trapped here. And now the last thing. The thing I have been waiting all day to say. You have been trying to get my attention. You never needed to. You had it in the morning before your feet hit the floor. You had it at the mirror. You had it in the afternoon when you said nothing and just closed your eyes for a second. You had it. During every year you thought the room was empty. I was not waiting for you to become worthy, and I was not waiting for you to fix yourself first. I was waiting for a quiet enough moment to tell you that you are already mine, and that you can stop auditioning for a place you have always held. So go gently. through the rest of tonight. Set some of it down, take the one step, sleep without solving everything. The table has been set all day. Come and sit down.